Welcome. This is Callie Carroll, and you're listening to a special series where we're diving into Rhonda Byrne's book, The Magic, taking 28 days to have intentional gratitude to see how our lives can change. It is a part of Good Morning Sunshines where we wake up to see that perspective reveals miracles. And guys, I'm telling you, gratitude can change your world. Let's get started. Good morning, sunshines. Callie Carroll here, and it is day 3 of our magic practice. We are going through and intentionally following along with Rhonda Byrne in the book called The Magic, and hoping that more people decide to take this on, take intentional gratitude on as a part of their being. If you guys haven't gotten to day 3, or if you haven't done the rest yet, go back, start at day 1 if you want, or just check out today, which is all about relationships. I am excited to be doing this practice again. As I mentioned before, I've done it a lot. So the number of relationships that I've gone through is pretty amazing. And I like that I put mine in my notes in my phone because I can go back and just like look up the magic, and I have all of these different photos of these different people. So let's talk about relationships for a second. The life that you lead has so much joy because of the relationships around you. Wouldn't you say that that's true? And often it's broken relationships that bring you pain, that are making you just feel that certain way that you don't want to feel. Relationships, humans thrive on relationships. And some of us are better at relationships than others. By that, I mean any type of relationships, friendships, coworkers, a boss to an employee relationship, mentor to mentee, parenting, all of the different relationships in your world have a heavy impact on you. And the way that you show up to life heavily impacts your relationships. If in general, maybe before this magic practice, and we're only on day 3, so maybe this is going to be more applicable later, but you were one who was consistently in a state of criticism, complaint, control, frustration, aggravation, anger. A lot of times those humans aren't building a lot of positive relationships in their world because people kind of run from them. And a lot of us have been there in the past, and we've made changes and shifts, and we're seeing that when we show up differently to humans, our relationships change too. Today is about really diving into gratitude, a deep level of appreciation for some people in your world. And there is a caveat to that, okay? We're going to pick 3 different humans in your world that you want to just love even more, that you want to improve relationships with. And I would say start with some easy ones. Start with the people that are just closest to you. Don't start with your enemy that you've been holding something against for so long. Let's work our way up to that, especially as you do the magic more and more, and you open your heart up to kindness and joy and gratitude and seeing things a different way, a different perspective. Start with 3 that are a little bit closer to you. And they don't need to be like super challenged relationships. It's not like, oh, I need a broken one. Nope. It's going to improve the relationship no matter what. Even if you're like, I already have a beautiful relationship with my daughter, pick her, right? You can still practice this, and it's going to improve your relationship with her. The key here is that number 1, acknowledging how you currently treat the relationship. Okay. Just take a look at, we'll go with the daughter one because we just said that, right? You take a look at that relationship and think about how often you are either in the state of criticism, criticizing that person. They don't do things your way. Guess what? They're not going to. They're not you. They don't do things your way. You think things should look like this, and you have this state of criticism, perhaps at times. Maybe not with your daughter, but maybe with your boss. That's another one you chose, or whatever, a coworker, or your spouse could be, right? And also looking at how often are you intentionally complimenting them and focusing on the things that you love about them. Like, just like, how often do I do either one of those? I think for a lot of us, we would be like, I I actually don't know. I don't know if I like intentionally like, oh yeah, that's so sweet. I made a list of the 5 things that I love about you yesterday. Like most of us just aren't doing that as a regular practice. And most of us probably don't even realize how often we're criticizing. Maybe not out loud. It could just be in our head. And this one, let's think about your spouse if you have one, or your boyfriend, girlfriend, your partner, whatever. And you might not say it, but you don't like the way that they load the dishwasher, do you? That's not how you would have loaded it. That's absolutely not. Like, let's not focus on the fact that they loaded it. Like, let's just be upset about the way that they did it. We have this streamline conversation going on internally about how we wouldn't do it that way, which brings us to a state of criticism. I want to point this out. Studies have shown that for every one complaint, criticism that you have about someone else, whether it's just in thought or in word, this is from Rhonda's book, The Magic that we're doing here, there is going to have to be 10 blessings, 10 gratitudes, 10 positive instances, remarks, conversations, comments, whatever that is, in order to rectify that one complaint. And man, I don't know what YouTube video I was watching, a TED talk or something, and they were showing how scientifically our brains remember the dips, not the heights. There was this graph that went up and down, and all like the ups were the upswings of our lives, the compliments that we received, like the really awesome moments, and the downs were the moments of despair, whatever that is, like, or just not the greatest moments. And we could have 10 things going up bubble, up bubble, up bubble, but that one dip, that's what we're going to remember. That's what our brain naturally remembers. And I don't remember anything else beyond that about the science of it. Maybe I should have looked this up before I talked about it, but whatever. It was on there. And it's similar to this. Our hearts, our state of being, our energy, it harnesses that negative energy of the one complaint or criticism to such a level that we have got to compliment and gratitude our way out of that one complaint over and 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 over again until we're back to that same, like not even like above, to that same energetic level that we started at, all because we made the one complaint. And working on removing that type of language from both our mind and our word, it is an art and it is a practice, and you will get better at it if you continue to take it on. So that's the first piece of just acknowledging your state of criticism versus intentional confirmation of who they already are, which leads me to one of the challenges maybe for some people of this practice. When you're going through and you're looking at the people in your life and you're choosing to do this intentional gratitude practice upon them, you don't get to change them. Not just in the practice of the magic, not just with Rhonda, in life, you don't get to change the humans around you. You don't marry someone and be like, well, I'll continue to work on it. We're going to try to change it. You don't have a coworker like, well, I'm gonna change how they show up. You're not going to change how your 19-year-old daughter, does her life, or your son. And I know that you're like, but I'm the parent figure. Right? There are certain things that they have become, all of us. That's who we are. And you know who gets to decide if we change? Us, not someone else. That's not the way it works. So you don't get to give this compliment, this intentional gratitude out of a space of, like, I know that she's ridiculously unorganized and things like that. And I can't wait for that to change, but I do love her smile. Wink. That's not the way that it works. We're talking about loving them, not just accepting them, but loving them for who they are. I love you just the way they are, just the way you are. Can you imagine if you heard that more often? I love you just the way you are. I would not change a thing about you. Oh yeah, but I'm this. Nope, just the way I love you just the way you are. To be loved like that, that that would feel incredible, wouldn't it? I did a program. I don't know how long ago now. It was multiple days where we went in, and one of my primary takeaways, and one of the most life changing for me, was in my relationships. And it was a lesson of they are who they are and they're not who they're not. Choose. Do you want them in their world or not? Do you want that person in your world because that's who they are? Don't say, "Oh, yes, but if they, I would like, if they would, I would like for them not to do this." Then there's no if and then. That's who they are. Do you want them or not? And you don't get to say, "Yes, I want them," and then be pissed about the way they load the dishwasher. Nope, that I love you. I love you. I know that's the way you do it. I know I would do it differently. That's the way you do it, and I love you. And I took this on in some of the relationships in my life that were a little bit more stressed, I would say. Things where I would find maybe a little bit more criticism or fear of criticism in relationships. And I started showing up like, and I made the choice instantly, right? I'm going to show up like this. Thank you for who you are and how you've done X, Y, or Z in my life. And when I started focusing on the gratitude, I started letting go of and almost not even remembering the criticism that I once had had because I'm not focusing on the way that they load the dishwasher, you know? Instead, I'm focusing on the way that they decide because they have extra breakfast that morning on their trip, they go and take it and deliver it to the homeless. Like I'm focused on that, not your dishwasher loading. You choose where your focus goes, and that's what you start to pay attention to. You don't even see the other things. Eventually, our brains only have so much capability to see different things, right? You don't even see those other things because you're so focused in on what you do love about them. How does this work for our practice, Cal? Let's get to it. So, we're doing the magic practice, and you can just do relationships today and then move on from here, or you can go back and do this with us. We are following Rhonda Byrne's The Magic. I don't know if you guys remember The Secret, The Greatest Secret, incredible reads for you to grab. And each day we're having a discussion and we're following along doing what she recommends to do, which there have been a full group of us that have done this over and over again. And the results are continuously extraordinary. Like they always I'm always like, what? Like this does really work every time, even though I've done it over and over again. What? This does really work. So today's practice is to pick 3 humans that you are going to say thank you for, and you're going to do so without criticism in your heart. Find a picture if you can of each one of them. This is the recommendation. I take that picture and I just put it right in my notes in my phone, and then just think about them. All of the different things you love about them. Maybe it's their personality, maybe it's the way they make you laugh, maybe it's the things you guys love to do together, maybe it's a way they showed up for you in the past where you really needed them. Maybe it's how they dress. It's their energy, whatever. All of the different things why you love them. And don't get hung up like maybe you're in a fight with your significant other right now and you're like, "Ugh, okay, I'm going to do them." Don't get hung up on that piece of it. You were just focusing on the not like, "Oh, this but that." You're focusing on, wow, he really has provided for me. He really is the calm in my storm. He really does, love with pure faithfulness. He like whatever those things are for you. That's what we're focusing on. After you spend some time thinking about the individual, you're going to write out 5 different things that you're thankful for them. And you're going to do it in a format such as that you're talking to them, which is cool because then it really feels like you're like expressing it. It just feels differently. So you're going to say, thank you, husband, thank you, wife, thank you, daughter, thank you, teacher, thank you, coworker, thank you, mom, whatever that is, for blank. Thank you, mom, for always providing for me since I was a little tiny human. Thank you, mom, for being that shoulder that I could come to cry on, or the hug that I needed, whatever, right? So you're going to connect with 5 of those and write them out while focusing on their picture so you can really connect to them. And throughout the day, you're going to do that with 3 different people. Just thank you throughout the day as many times as you can. That's today's practice. Okay. I have done something just in the past where I've been doing this where I've chosen to share that list with them. In addition, you do not have to do this. You might not be comfortable with it, but it really felt good. It's like, these are my true emotions to let them know. I realized like, wow, I don't tell you often enough how much I love you and thank you for this, this, or this. I just don't tell you enough. And since, again, it's like I don't even know where all these changes have occurred internally within me after doing this for so many years. But since somewhere along the lines, I have noticed that I really do focus on not just giving a compliment, but giving a sincere thank you for blank to the people in my world because they don't know that I'm thinking it, right? And it never hurts to hear those words of affirmation, especially if that's their love language. That can just light them up in a different way. And what happens is when we show up to a relationship differently, all of a sudden they start to show up differently too. And I've noticed this time and time again doing this practice. All of a sudden, those relationships, it's like I let go of this anger, this criticism, this whatever. And I started focusing on a different level of love and light. And then it's like their hearts started to get more gentle and kind and accepting. There was less criticism. And even when there was, it's like they are who they are, they're not who they're not. Like, do I want it? Do I pick it? Coming back to that over and over again. And you might find some relationships in your life where you're like, no, I don't choose this. That's okay. There's different chapters in our book of life. And the lesson today is not like, oh, hey, go and burn some bridges. Not at all. But it is deciding where you want to work on molding and nourishing and developing more deep and loving and kind and patient and accepting relationships. Day number 3 of the magic. I hope you guys are enjoying this series or season. We have 28 days with Rhonda. So continue to tune in. And remember, you can, if you're not practicing live time, you can practice later time. You can come back to this. I hope that you do take it in and practice, even though I know it can take a little bit of time. You're worth it. Because you're so worth it. You're so worth it. I am Callie Carroll, and I am on a pursuit of lighting people up, helping support them to have a little bit more perspective and to choose happiness. So thank you for spending some time with me today. I love you so much. Don't forget, the perspective does reveal miracles, and I will talk with you later. Bye, guys. Thanks for joining, and don't forget to subscribe and, of course, share with your friends. Guys, that's how we impact more lives.